This is the biggest and toughest pizza challenge I've ever attempted. It's so big that I'm teaming up with the big man himself, Randy Santel, to see if with our combined efforts, we can take it down. And if we can, we'll be rewarded with an incredible $500 cash. And with it being a pizza challenge, I'll certainly be putting on the trusty turtle armor. That's a guarantee. Just like you can guarantee that the big man himself is most likely going to be on his phone during most hours of the day. Anyways, once we recovered from yesterday's food adventures, we started making our way to the challenge. And while on the outside I'm walking with a very calm, cool, and confident stride, especially as I rock those sexy MILF sunglasses. On the inside, however, I'm feeling rather a bit timid because I knew we both had our work cut out for us on this one, and it certainly was not going to be an easy task. So, as we made our way from our base of operations in Chicago, we made the trek down to Rockford, Illinois, to a restaurant called Mamma Mia's. And after checking out the place for a bit and looking at some of the merchandise, it was time to get down to business. And let me tell you, when they put that pizza in the oven, I found the name of the restaurant to be very fitting, because as I looked on, I thought to myself, Mamma Mia! Because it's one thing to see photos of it, but when you actually get to see it in person, it really puts everything into perspective. But we both knew that this wasn't going to be an easy one, and after we got ourselves situated, it was time for the battle to begin.
This is a big pizza, you ready?
Yep.
Alright, 1, 2, 3, boom!
And here we go, the final preseason challenge before I embark on the Australia tour. Again, we are at Mamma Mia's in Rockford, Illinois, taking on their 32-inch Team Don Pizza Challenge. And it's a boss of a pizza, let me tell you. Coming in at 32 inches and weighing 14 pounds. Now for this pizza challenge, you must choose at least one topping besides cheese. In our case, we went with green pepper, onion, and Canadian bacon. Just to add a bit of variety, those are also toppings that Randy and I both don't mind having. Now, while this is a massive pizza challenge, the real dilemma here is that you and a partner only have 45 minutes to complete the entire thing, which really doesn't give you a whole lot of breathing room. Especially in a case like, say, you hit the dreaded wall, and you need some time to gather your composure and continue on. This would sort of be like in the NFL if you're down by one score and there's only 2 minutes left on the clock with no timeouts. In that case, there's not much time for a breather, and you just have to keep after it the entire time. And I think that makes sense. Let me know in the comments down below. And with this challenge, if Randy and I did end up falling short and taking down this kingpin of pizza, we'd have to fork over $49 plus and an additional $7 for each topping. But if we could take this thing down, we would get the meal for free, a free shirt, our pictures up on the wall of fame, and that lucrative $500 cash, which would be some nice spending cash on the trip. I certainly would be a-okay with the post-challenge victory push-ups if that ended up being the case.
How much of this did you want?
I'm rolling with you.
Now, once this challenge was underway, there wasn't much to say, other than, of course, that we had a battle ahead of ourselves, and we needed to focus in order to get off to as good of a start as we possibly could. Though, I will say that it's much easier to do that when the pizza is delicious, and that was certainly the case here. I didn't have a particular favorite among the toppings, as I found them to be all enjoyable, and the pizza was a little saucy too, which helped make it go down easier. It helped put my mind at ease knowing that at least while we'd be tackling this massive pizza challenge, at least it was going to be a tasty pizza. Which now knowing that, it isn't a surprise to see that they actually sell this as a normal menu item. And it's also advertised as feeding upwards of 20 people, which is actually kinda nuts to think about.
Hey, will you tell Frank I'm ready for a Diet Pepsi, please? 2, please.
So it might seem a bit early to be grabbing that Diet Pepsi, but hey, if you need it, you need it. Personally, I prefer trying to hold off a bit longer before having mine, just because I always find that those first few sips of that cool, crisp, refreshing cola taste, it gives me a boost of energy. And the best way to describe this is like in those Fast and Furious movies when they use the NOS during street races. It just adds a nice little boost to your performance for a short period of time. While we continue on, we're making good progress on this pizza, but don't be deceived, because oftentimes with pizza challenges, you can often find that you'll make quick work of the middle, but once you get to the outer pieces with the crust, it takes a bit more time to chew through.
Just under 16 minutes in, so we're over 1/3 through the time limit, but we're over halfway through, so we're gonna keep on eating and we'll see what happens. Two more Diet Pepsis, please.
Time to reload on the diet soda. And I see comments about this from time to time in regards to using the diet soda, particularly with the concern that all that carbonation would just fill you up. And while using diet soda does seem counterintuitive, it actually does a pretty good job of helping me burp up excess air pockets. And as I mentioned before, that cool, crisp, and refreshing taste, it just really helps as a nice palate cleanser in between bites. And while it might not work for everyone, it certainly helps me. In fact, there's been a few notable times where I didn't have access to it. It was like trying a pizza when you should French fry while skiing.
You French fry when you pizza, you're gonna have a bad time.
That's just my take based on my experience. But hey, to each their own. At this point, we are in a good position, though I'm gonna have to keep at it, especially since I was keeping my crust until the end. And as I continued on with each bite, I thought to myself, please, Turtle Powers, lend me your eating strength. Do not fail me now. We need to keep pushing, because it's going to be an uphill battle, getting through all that crust. And I'm doing my best to keep focused and chip away at the pizza, bite by bite, all while tapping into every ounce of power that turtle armor can give me. Things are starting to look a little too close for comfort here. And I know Randy is pushing himself, as am I. But at this point, while we have taken down a ton of pizza, I'm not so much struggling with any sense of being full, though I was still feeling the effects of consuming so much pizza. But my big issue here was, I was starting to have a tough time getting through that chewier crust. And so I did what I could, really just trying to zone in and pick up the pace as best as I could. And I even got a bit more aggressive with the amount of diet soda I was drinking, in order to get that crust down even faster.
30 minutes, 20 seconds in, it's going to be a close one. Less than 15 minutes left.
At this time, I didn't pay too much attention to Randy, as I'm just still zoned in on getting the job done on my end. Of course, I was blasting some musical tunes by the likes of Kesha, Pitbull, and David Guetta, so I really couldn't hear what was going on or being said around me. So when I saw Randy get up out of the corner of my eye, I didn't think much of it. I just simply thought he's doing what he needs to do because we were closing in on that 45-minute time limit. Then a few short moments later, I take another look up, and I am absolutely stunned by what I see. That is, the sight of something no food fighter ever wants to see: a dreaded garbage can. And at that moment, even while it was happening so fast, I immediately knew what it meant.
"34 minutes in, that was embarrassing. Got sick, so we're disqualified, but that was a big pizza, and I've got bad luck doing massive steaks the night before big challenges, so.
Alright, so I don't want to pick on the big man too much here, and I know he feels terrible about losing, but I just have to point out something, and that is if you've been known to not perform at your best, which in this case, he did a monster 92-ounce steak plus sides the day before, I wouldn't say that's exactly following the win before you begin philosophy. But unfortunately, we weren't able to get the win this time around, so no victory push-ups this time. And so not only did we have to fork over money for the pizza, but more importantly, we weren't going to get any of those sweet t-shirts. I guess getting the $500 would have been pretty sweet too. However, this is just the beginning of an epic adventure which is soon to begin, one which will have many more food monstrosities to battle. So rather than dwelling on this loss, I focused on nursing my newly formed food baby and readied myself for the adventures that laid ahead. And to watch the next food adventure, click on the video on the screen or in the link in the description down below, and I'll see you there.